very good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for gathering in today. We have a special surprise for you. आज हमारे साथ एक guest storyteller है and please welcome Mr. Willie Broad George, our storyteller for today.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Uh, good evening, children. I'm so happy to be here. मैं पिछले 4 5 6 दिनों से मैं देख रहा हूँ कि आप लोग कैसे आ रहे हैं और आप कैसे स्टोरी सुन रहे हैं और you're getting more and more interested in this. And I'm also seeing how Ria, our director for Willy Kids, is doing such a great job with you all. And when she invited me to read a story for you, uh, at first I got very nervous because I was like, reading is easy. But then I realized that reading to children is a very different art and a very different craft. I hope I can read for you a wonderful story today. I will try my best to read in a, slowly, clearly, and to dramatize what I read. Um, Children need, parents अगर आप सुन रहे हो तो children need to see different people reading, not only one person reading to the child. So, use your elder brother, elder sister, घर पे कोई अगर बड़ा बच्चा है या कोई uncle या auntie या दादी या दादा, anyone can read to the children. And it's not necessary कि आप सिर्फ English में पढ़े, आप कोई भी language में पढ़ सकते हैं. बिकॉज रीडिंग एक ऐसा एक एक्सपीरियंस है आपके बच्चे के साथ. इट्स अ पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस. इट बिल्ड्स कनेक्शन. इनफैक्ट जब आप खेलते हो बच्चों के साथ और जब आप बच्चों के साथ रीडिंग करते हो, वो टाइम पे दे से दैट बच्चे और अडल्ट ब्रेन के बीच में सिंक्रोनाइजेशन होता है. सो चिल्ड्रन, टुडे आई एम गोइंग टू रीड द स्टोरी called Curious George Goes to the Circus. Curious George Goes to the Circus. This is actually a book which is adapted from the Curious George film series. Curious George. So let's see what the story says. George, said the man with a yellow hat, the circus is in town tonight. Let's go. At the circus, lots of people were standing in line for their tickets. George, said the man, I'm going to buy you some cotton candy. Wait right here and don't get into any trouble. While the usher was collecting the tickets, George sneaked into the tent. The acrobats had just climbed up to the platforms. George was curious. Could he do that too? He grabbed the rope ladder and started to climb. Hey, called an acrobat. Get off the ropes. We've got to start our act. But it was too late. The lights went out. The world's greatest circus is ready to begin, announced the ringmaster. The lights came up again, and an acrobat leaped into the act. It means the acrobat jumped. उसने वो jump किया. उसके एक्ट में. You can see it here. Another acrobat caught his partner in mid-air. George wanted to get into the act. He climbed to the top of the ladder and onto the high platform. Then he leaped into the air. He bounced on the net, did a double somersault, and finally landed on the ground. The audience loved it. But the acrobats were angry. "He's stealing our act," shouted one. "That monkey's making a fool of us," cried another. George was scared. He ran down the hall where a long line of elephants were getting ready for their act. George climbed up the trunk of the last elephant and hid behind his headdress. The ringmaster was leading the elephants into the ring. Suddenly, the last elephant raised his trunk and let out an enormous sneeze. George flew through the air and landed on the back of the first elephant. The ringmaster was angry. "That's the monkey that messed up the acrobat's act," he shouted. George kept riding around and around on the elephant's back. "Look!" cried a boy. "There's George! Isn't he great?" Everyone cheered. "Well, George," said the ringmaster, "you're forgiven for you messing up the acrobat's act. You were the star of the show." "Three cheers for joy!" they all shouted. The end. As you can see, this is a very beautiful story about a curious George who's a monkey. And there are lots of different stories about Curious George. Like Curious George goes to school, Curious George goes to the market. This is a very good activity. ये बहुत अच्छा activity है आपके बच्चों के साथ करने के लिए. It's getting children to explore, getting children to investigate, ढूंढना कुछ. ये सब फाउंडेशनल स्किल्स है बच्चों के क्यूरियोसिटी को जताने के लिए. जब बच्चों में हम क्यूरियोसिटी जताते हैं तब आगे जाके वो रिसर्च करते हैं अगर उनको कुछ मालूम नहीं है तो उसके बारे में पता करते हैं. And knowledge is power. And for you to get knowledge, वो knowledge का भूख हम अभी बच्चों में इस तरीके के बुक्स के द्वारा हम उसमें ला सकते हैं. So that is our first story for today. I really hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments agar if I have to say it slowly or more loud, if I have to go fast, if my expressions are okay. Please give us some feedback, and then I will try and see if I can incorporate that right into this video. Our next story is also from the Curious George series. The story is called Curious George and the Dump Truck. You can see the dump truck, you can see Curious George. I have to go to town, George, said the man with the yellow hat. You can come along. George and his friend got into their blue car and drove to town. Here they are in a blue convertible and they're driving to town. On the way, they listened to the news on the radio. There has been a robbery at Gilbert's jewelry store, the announcer said. The robbers were seen driving away in a red van. George, said the man, I have to buy some nails. Wait for me in the car and don't get into any trouble. Some workmen with a big dump truck were fixing holes in the street. At noontime, the men stopped for lunch. George got out of the car and climbed into the truck. He was curious. What were all those levers? He pulled one after the other. Suddenly, the truck began to dump. It dumped sand all over the street. The sand spilled over a lady in a flowered hat. It spilled over a man with an umbrella. The people were angry. What's going on? They cried, who's dumping all the sand? When the workmen returned from lunch, they saw the mess. Grab that monkey, one of them shouted. George was scared. Quickly, he ran up a telephone pole. No one could reach him there. The workmen began to shovel the sand back into the truck. Just then, a red van came around the corner. George heard a police car siren. The police must be chasing someone. Maybe they were chasing George. He climbed down and ran to the dump truck. He tried to crawl under the seat, but his foot hit the dumping lever again. All of the sand was dumped. The sand pile got so high that it blocked the road. George covered his head and waited for the police to take him away. But the police were not after George. They wanted the men in the red van who had robbed the jewelry store. The police caught the robbers and took them away. Now George came out of his hiding place. "You were a bad monkey," one of the workmen said. "Hold it," said the policeman. "He helped us catch the robbers." "You're right," said the workman. "You're okay, George. Let's shake hands." That night, they were watching TV. A little monkey saved the day. The 6 p.m. news report began. The end. I hope you really liked this story. Do let us know if you have any story recommendations. Tomorrow is the last day that we're doing this series. Tomorrow is part 12. Tomorrow you will see Ria again reading two wonderful stories for you. Have a wonderful day. Keep washing your hands. Stay safe and be a wonderful child for your parents.